have emotions and think about things. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so what I'd like to talk about is upbringings, because we mentioned that earlier. So I'd like to go back into, upbringing. So just to start on this, for me, where I see love being really dysfunctional is in people not understanding other people's upbringings. And our upbringings are so important to who we are today, you know?
Yeah.
And I do a lot of inner child work in my therapy. And with inner child work, really understanding the inner you, that child that was, what were you lacking? What did you not get? What were you denied? And that when that shows up in your adult years, that's informing you why you're trying to either fill a void that you never had, or why you're trying to receive something that was taken away from you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're asking that of a partner, but on the flip side, you also go to your partner why your partner might deny you that love. You're seeking this from them, but they're denying you. So when we look into your partner's inner child work, they might be saying, actually, I grew up with somebody who was very demanding. I had to give everything they asked for. I had to provide. I had to do this as a child. And I've come through that. I'm not doing that in my adult years. So again, a mismatch, not connecting in the sense that I'm not trying to be your mother. I'm not demanding, or your father. And also, I'm not trying to not give you something because I'm trying to be your parent. So it's just that work that's continual.
Mhm.
So yeah, what's your thought around sort of upbringing and
Oh,
love languages?
oh, oh gosh, there's so much. When I was listening, I was like, all these different things were popping into my head. So
Tick 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 tick
one
tick.
thing, when I'm working with my clients, the one thing I do is I look at them on a 360-degree turn. So it's like everything from what job do they do, what are they single, are they married, what's their relationship status, but also do they have kids, don't they have children, their relationship, their children, their relationship with family. I look at how they're showing up on an everyday basis, and I go back to upbringing, because I think upbringing is a massive, massive part of who they are. Like there's this thing, like if I think of girls, a lot of, actually no, I mean, I won't say girls. I say sometimes people are parentified. That's when you have young children ending up being the parent in the family when they're not supposed to be. They're just made to grow up far too quickly. So when it comes to how they show up as an adult, it changes dynamics, and the way they behave is very interesting. But a lot of times people don't realize that sometimes the way they behave is like a trauma response from their experiences as a child. For example, I'm trying to think, like, I'm really resourceful. Like, if I need to find information out or whatever, I will go off and I will do my research. I will find out what I need to find out. But actually, when I think about it, the only reason I'm resourceful is because, one, I was a parent to my siblings when they were kids, literally, and I had to go through this whole process of having to become friends with my sister, because for a long time I think she saw me like there was a somewhere in there like parent relationship which shouldn't have been there, but unfortunately, back in the 80s, life was life, right? So when it comes to how people are showing up in their adult life, it could be that they're seeking something that was missing, something they didn't get. So for example, words of affirmation. If somebody didn't get that as a child, when they hear that as an adult, it's like, oh, they're seeking validation. They receive that, so and they really appreciate it. And there's nothing wrong with however one person feels like they want to receive the love, whether it's touch, da 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 da, because it might be somebody, it could be that somebody wasn't given much touch when they were younger, like there wasn't any hugs or something as they were growing up. So as they become an adult now, it means that they then don't really like hugs because they just don't like
Yeah,
hugs, or
yeah,
it could be the other way, that they really do like hugs. But I think it also comes down to decision and choice, because life, things will happen, but it's about the choice we make, the decision we make around what's happened. And you can have two children, right? Two identical kids. One, they could both be thrown into a swimming pool, right? One will float up and be like, yeah, let's do this, and just be a fighter. The other person could end up hating swimming and never wanting to go into that pool ever again, never to
mhm,
swim again. But they've made a choice. Exactly the same situation, but they've made a choice. Or if you think of like when it might be that children may have grown up in a family where one of their parents or somebody was an alcoholic. You might end up seeing one becomes an alcoholic, or and then the other one is like complete teetotaler because they've made the decision, a choice in their head of this is how I'm going to operate, and and that's the decision they've made in their head because of whatever their brain's designed to do. Because
Yeah,
sometimes the brain is
I'm
like
glad.
protecting us.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned, the brain and what the body does, because I wouldn't say it's always a choice. I understand what you're saying and I agree to an extent, but a lot of things are about the way we internalize, the way our makeup is, what's happened to us. So I think sometimes it's not always a choice, and also two different people can go on. Sorry.
Can I caveat that? So when I
Hmm.
say choice, it's not always a conscious thing. It's not
Hmm.
always a conscious choice because, you know, as you know, with all your training, the brain is very interesting. It wants to protect us. And so it may do certain things, make a choice based on that protection factor. So even though it's not necessarily helpful as an adult or whatever, at the time, maybe that was the protection thing. So it could be that the choice looks a bit like it doesn't make any sense, like why would you do that, but then we don't know what the chemical makeup is going,
Yeah.
what our brain's doing, and it's like it goes right back to maybe primitive times of how you know that protective factor. Anyway, I just wanted
Mhm.
to throw that in.
Yeah,
Carry
yeah,
on.
no, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, I'm glad that we've covered that, because obviously, we know that sometimes decisions are made based on things that have happened, things
Yeah,
that we can't understand, things that it's not always I'm choosing to do this. So I'm glad that we've sort of covered that part. And when you were talking about words of affirmation, for example, somebody giving you the words of affirmation and you received them. Sorry, you never received them in your childhood, and then you come to receive them in your adulthood. There's also that flip side, like you said. You might then love words of affirmation, or you might not believe them. So here your partner is saying to you, you never got this in your childhood. You say this is what you need, I'm giving it to you, but you're not taking it. You don't believe me when I say I love you. You don't believe me when I say you look beautiful. And then again, that causes another whole dysfunction in a relationship of,
yeah,
I'm trying, but you're not receiving.
yeah. This is
Um,
why knowing thyself is important.
being what?
Knowing thyself, know
Yeah, yeah,
thyself,
yeah.
know yourself, because
Yeah,
it could be that how can I put it, like you just need to know yourself, and that will make the difference. If you don't know
yeah.
what you like, what you
And
don't
and
like.
and knowing yourself is not an overnight thing. We're constantly changing, we're constantly growing, we're constantly doing the work. I'm constantly doing the work. I've learned so much about myself, and I'm sure there's so much more to learn, and I'm excited about everything I learn about myself. It's a whole new discovery every now and again, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you're so multi-dimensional, you're amazing. I didn't know you had this, and I didn't know you had these dysfunctions or these traumas and stuff like that, but then we work on them, we deal with them, we show up differently. um
I call them torpedoes, like from a submarine, because they're kind of under the surface. You don't see them. We're
mhm.
like icebergs. You can see the tip of the iceberg, but there's so much more going on under the surface
So
that we
much
don't
more,
see. And
and
you're
it will
peeling
be.
away those layers like an onion.
Always, always. And then you touched upon trauma earlier. So
Yeah.
just to remind people as well, trauma is not an incident. Trauma is not what happened to you at the time. It's what you're carrying around with you as a result of that trauma. So you carrying these little dysfunctions that we've just been talking about, as a result of what happened, that's your trauma. So I don't think we can ever say we've dealt with our trauma, we're done, because trauma will continually show up in a new relationship. You might receive it differently, you might see it differently. So it's just knowing what your trauma is and how you show up, so that when that trauma response comes, you say, I know you, I know who you are, you're my trauma, and I know what I need to do here. So it's that constant doing the work, over and over, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, trauma, because it's like I mentioned earlier, where one person will experience an event
Hmm.
in one way, and one person may experience an event in another way. For one person, that event becomes the trauma. For another person, that event is just like oh, okay, that happened, move
Hmm.
on, no biggie, and they've carried on.
Absolutely.
And it's like the baggage you carry. And as you said, it's like, what are you carrying? What baggage are you carrying? And are you choosing to put it down? I always think of it sometimes like it's like an open wound. If you haven't put the baggage down, it's like an open wound where someone can say something and they're like prodding at it,
Hmm.
and so then you react because you're like, ow. Whereas if you've dealt with it and there's a scar there, it's healed up, there's a scar. Speaking from a scar is a much better place than speaking from an open wound.
Hmm. Hmm.
This thing happened, there was a set of traumas, but actually you're okay because you can talk about it and you can actually use that experience now potentially to
Yeah.
help others around you, as opposed to you carrying it and it being very present and you feeling some kind of way, you know?
Yeah, and that scar as well, the scar is not
Yeah.
healed. It's not just
Yeah.
healed, it's scar tissue, isn't it? It's scar
Yeah.
tissue that's different. So if you're prodding on my scar tissue, it's slightly different than prodding on a piece of skin that's never been wounded.
Mm.
Therefore, that's the difference. And it's knowing that, you know what, yes, coming from a place of healing, not a flesh or fresh wound. But this is scar tissue. There's something deeper there, you know?
Yeah, I think sometimes as well when it comes to those coping mechanisms, it's almost like people put a band-aid on a bullet wound and it's like that's never going to fix things, you know. It's like you
Mhm.
have to get in there, pull that bullet out and actually now sew it up and seal it off properly. And this is where I think the work that you and I do really comes into play because you know, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm working with somebody, I don't want them to be coming back to me over and over. I don't want to put a band-aid on something. I'm like, we're going deep, we're getting right in there. I'm gonna rummage around. It's gonna hurt a little bit, but I promise you, by the time we're done, all you're gonna see is a nice little, you know, little scar
Yeah.
that's we stitched everything
Scar
up.
tissue, but also let's rummage around with care, you
Oh,
know.
100%.
Let's
That's
not
the
just,
biggest
that's
thing.
a given.
Yeah,
Let's not just pull that bullet wound out without securing it and taking care of what could happen
exactly.
as a result of taking this wound
Mhm.
out. You know, we don't want that catastrophic bleed. We want to be able to take care first and know where we are. We're in a safe place. Yes, it's going to hurt, but we're taking care. And that's how we
Exactly.
deal with ourselves, and that's how we deal with our loved ones,
Mhm.
essentially. So yeah, just quite graphic in the sense of wounds,
Sorry,
but
it is a bit of a graphic, but that's the thing. Sometimes, you know, I always think of people, they're walking wounded, walking
we are
wounded,
all walking wounded, all of us,
because we're
not
going
sometimes.
around, you know, you don't know like what, you know, if I almost feel like if we were to visualize the wounds that each person had, and then you could see, okay, that one is a bit more damaged than that one, da 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 da. But you know, it's that thing of saying to yourself every day that actually I choose to heal, I choose to do the work, I choose to allow myself to let go. Because I always feel like sometimes people claim like things too much. And when I say claim, it's kind of like, you know, when I hear someone say, my anxiety, I'm like, what do you mean, my? Anxiety is not, you're not supposed to have anxiety. It's just, I don't believe that a person should, and I wouldn't want to claim it. So you might feel a bit anxious here and there in certain situations because you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to do something that's, I'm expanding my comfort zone, you know. And when you do things, you know, like you get braver the more you do, right? And you increase that circle of your circle and circumference of influence. But like when sometimes I hear people saying, "Oh, I have these coping mechanisms for my anxiety," when I think of something like that, then I think that's a bullet wound, and you're whacking a little bit of a plaster on, or you're, you know, you've got a crutch and you're holding onto that crutch. We're not, a crutch is a temporary thing. We're not supposed to hold it forever. You know,
Mm,
we don't want people to be walking around walking wounded. We just don't. Unfortunately, that's how life is. But ideally you want somebody who is I suppose walking in their authority, strong, healed, and doing what they need to be doing and moving through life
yeah.
in the way that they were designed to, which is with purpose and with
Hmm.
confidence, with audacity, you know.
And you know, I like that. I like that a lot. I think, but this is interesting. This is where you and I differ slightly, but we agree, because I agree with a lot of what you said. But I also have a different mindset to an extent.
Yeah.
Um, I think that they can coexist. I can walk with my audacity. I can show up. I can be confident, and I can have that my anxiety and label it my anxiety. So the way that I look at it, and I like your way. It's a healthy way too, but I also like my way. I
Yeah.
think that for me, my anxiety is it's mine. I'm owning it. It's not yours. It's no one else's. It's mine. You know, I'm not saying it's mine to last forever. By the grace of God, it will go. But I'm saying
Yeah.
only when I accept that this is the way that I am, the way that I show up at the moment, the way that I respond to things, I can then own it, and I can then say, you know what? With my anxiety, this is what it does to me, and this is how I kick its butt.
Hmm.
And therefore, when it does disappear, if it does disappear, great, it's no longer my anxiety. But in the time that it's here with me, I'm going to know you
Yeah.
as good as I need to know you so that I can know how to handle you.
Yeah.
I guess there's different ways of looking at things, but still in a healthy way.
Yeah, no, totally. And I agree with what you've said around the kind of that kind of growth through the processing of the anxiety. I think I'm just very conscious of the use of the mouth. There is death and life in the power of the tongue, and
Hmm.
how I speak things. So that's why when it comes to claiming things, I'm just very mindful of that. Like there's a scripture in the Bible that says, "The Lord has not given me the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind."
Hmm.
So I'm choosing to, I always think, let's put it this way, I always think of any kind of like illness or discord in the body,
I
like
rebuke it.
I rebuke, but like I always say, this ease of the mind manifests as disease of the body.
Hmm.
And so when it comes to what's here, I think it's very important, because I believe that this here, our brain, our mind, it's a very, very expensive real estate.
Hmm.
It's
Absolutely.
expensive, it's priceless real estate.
Hmm.
So the only thing that should be, I will not allow a squatter.
Yeah.
And for
So
me, when I think of
I hear
anxiety,
you.
I think of anxiety as a squatter.
Yeah, yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
like
So I
this is
hear you.
expensive real estate, man.
Yeah,
But you must
yeah,
be
yeah.
paying me money. I must be
Then
making
squat.
profit from what's in
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And I hear you absolutely. And that's why if you're going to have the mindset that I have, for
Yeah.
example, you have to have it from a place of strength, from a place of
Yeah.
understanding, because I can let that squat, but I know
Yeah.
what I'm doing with you. I'm not just letting you squat for free. We're dealing
Hmm.
with you because I'm learning you proper so that I can deal with you. We're not just saying, oh, it's my anxiety. It's what it is. That's me for life. So I hear you. I see what you're saying.
Get you. And then so
We get
we
each
are
other.
in agreement in that it needs to clear out at some point,
Mhm.
basically. I like that.
Essentially, let's work on it. Let's work on
Hmm.
it. Okay,
Yeah.
so just to go over sort of what we've said then, in a nutshell, relationships. A healthy way to review a relationship is to think of it as, we're talking about not our own relationships as in personal growth. No, we're talking about love languages and how you show up for your partner. It's
Yeah.
not about how do I love you. It's about, do you feel loved by me?
Hmm.
Oh, do
How
we
do you want
agree?
me to love you, basically?
Yeah, do you, yeah, so essentially with all the love I'm giving you so far, do you feel loved by me? And if it's a no, that's a starting point. How can you then begin to feel loved by me? What can I do? And then I
Yeah.
can learn
Am
you
I
and you
doing
can
it the
learn me.
right way?
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, I think that makes sense. And it's really interesting thinking on that as well. Sometimes when you think, okay, when two people are like fitting together, there's obviously a level of compromise and getting to know each other. But I almost feel like, you know, when it's the right person, like they're going to do the work anyway to kind of get to know you. But also, it's like if somebody loves gifts, the other one would do it because they love giving gifts as well, you
Hmm.
know? And if somebody loves spending time, it's because the other one loves spending time. Or if the other one loves giving words of affirmation and being encouraging, or they're really like that kind of motivational type of person, you know? Like I love encouraging people with my words. Like I love
Hmm.
motivation. I love doing motivational speeches and whatnot. And I don't even think I'm doing it sometimes, but I just do it automatically and I find myself, you know, finding the right words, etc. And I enjoy that experience. But then the other person receiving it as well, it's like, okay, cool, that's what they need. Great. You know, you kind of like, okay,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
fits
yeah. So that's
the
the
right
transactional
situation,
sort of
right
need.
moment, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the transactional need. I mean, for me, I love, you know, the work I do anyway. I'm empowering in the same way that you are. We like to
Yeah.
empower people, women more so, but we like to empower people.
Yeah.
For me, I don't receive that, in
Hmm.
terms of, not that nobody gives that to me.
Yeah.
Yes, I can give it, but you can tell me all these things. I probably won't believe
But
you.
it
You
doesn't,
can, it
it's not
doesn't
your thing.
land. It's no, it doesn't. I mean,
Yeah,
I would
I've
like,
noticed that as
to.
well,
Have you
actually.
noticed that? Have you?
Yeah,
You can
100%. That's
tell
why I
me
don't
about
bother.
that.
I don't say anything. All I do is
Really?
I just go to Hummingbird and say, "Here you are, love."
You do. Carolyn, you know that I, obviously quality time is my thing. And actually, this is another thing I wanted to say. So Carolyn buys me cakes sometimes. Hummingbird Bakery, red velvet
Cupcake.
cupcake is my favorite, and Carolyn will just buy it. So I hear what you're saying. You don't think I take words of affirmation. I'm interested in delving into that for a second. So I'll come back to you with that. But yeah, with me, somebody can tell me all these things, and it just doesn't sink in. But then, for example, when you bought me Hummingbird Bakery cakes, you're with me. You give them to me in person, for example, and we'll sit and we're talking and we're having quality time.
And we have the quality time with the cake.
Yeah. So I actually think quality
different.
time for me is the best love language, because everything
Yeah.
else falls under that. If you're going to do acts of service, you normally do it in person. It's under quality time. If you're going to do hand holding, whatever, it's in person quality time. So I think that's really important for me. But I would love to be able to hear words, great words. Oh, you're this, or and it land and me say, oh yeah, but it just doesn't do anything for me. So I need love in different ways. So yeah, tell me why you say that.
No, I just noticed when I've said something to you about, that's been a word of affirmation, I've noticed your response to it, and I'm like, yeah, she doesn't really say that or whatever. I mean, you've said thank you, but I can tell the difference. Like,
Okay.
your excitement with like quality time is very different to your excitement with
Yeah.
words, like if I say to you, oh look, let's go and meet, let's go and do this, let's go and do that, you love that.
Yeah,
And
I do.
love the
I
quality
thrive on that.
time. Whether even if it's a phone call or even what we're doing now, technically this is quality time.
This is
And
quality. I love this.
and
Yeah.
we're learning each other, we're doing something where we're connecting, whether it's virtual, it doesn't matter. But there's a difference to how you are when it comes to me saying, oh my gosh, I love this, da, 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 da. And I'll say to you words of affirmation, and you're, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It's so
But
like
with
a
the
very,
other thing,
it's a
I'll
very
probably
lukewarm response to other things. And so I'm like, yeah, she doesn't, it's not her thing. And I'm like, that's okay, but I know what her thing is. So let me make sure that I spend my efforts on those things, and we're cool. And like literally when we do meet, that for me is also great because
energy.
we hang out. It doesn't matter
different.
what we're doing. It could
Yeah.
just be the most random thing, but as long as we're in each other's company
Cheap dates.
and,
Yeah.
and we're hanging out,
And
or
that's
we're
all that
sitting,
matters.
we're playing games on the TV,
Yeah. Or whatever we're doing,
it's
it doesn't
silliness,
matter.
but
You,
it's the quality time, and
yeah.
and that's what it is. And that's the
Yeah.
thing, we say it's literally we are cheap dates because
Cheap dates.
it don't need to be much, but as long as
Exactly.
we're together, we're doing something. And
Yeah.
that's where a lot of people don't understand that. So when they're busy going out spending all this money going, I give you everything, it's like, no.
Yeah.
Just come sit with me. Or, and like, for example, I know this is like a random one. Like, when it comes to my siblings, like, they don't all, I think my sister and I are probably the closest out of all of my siblings because we back and forth on WhatsApp and we chat because she doesn't live in the country. But we spend time and we send each other voice notes. So I know she's spending, she makes an effort. So for me, that kind of counts as quality time. So I'm okay with that. Whereas with the brothers, the three of them, they are, you know what boys are like in general. They don't really, they just don't reach out or make contact. And I think they don't understand, because if each one of them just literally reached out to me, dropped me a voice note here and there, hey, how's things going? Da 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 da. Do you know what? I'd be set. I'm cool.
And
But as
we
fans, I don't feel like they care about me. I don't feel like
Yeah.
they're interested in me. I know they do on a
but
basis
not in your
of
way.
I'm their sibling, but in the basis of I'm interested in who you are, what you're doing in your life. I don't feel I don't feel they care, simply
Yeah.
because they don't make the effort to spend a little tiny bit of time to send me a
Yeah.
2-minute voice note.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? What's going on in your life? And I'm not upset about it. Had to get myself to a point of not caring, because
Yeah.
when I did care, it upset me.
Because
Whereas now,
all you can
I,
do,
yeah,
is let people know how you like to be loved, and it's their choice. They either
yeah.
love you in that way or they don't.
And I think the point is, I don't think I've told them that. And I
Okay,
hadn't
so
thought
that's
about
where you
it
need
till
to
now we're
change.
having this conversation where it's
Yeah.
like, actually, by the way, when I send you a message, say, how you doing? Do you know what? Send me a 1-minute voice note, say, hey, I'm good, work's busy, da da. Honestly, that's enough. Then I know, oh,
So
okay,
then
this person cares.
that's
They
your
care enough to
response.
send me a message.
Yeah.
So I
So then
think for
that's
me, I need to go away now and tell them that.
yeah. So then that's your responsibility to go and do that, because in the absence of that, it's just you in your head. It's just you in your mind. The
100%.
dangers are when you tell somebody something, remembering that they may receive that as an attack, they may receive that as a demand, they may receive that as a, how are you telling me how to love you? But
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing that you can do.
Exactly.
But yeah, I love that you noticed my way of receiving love in a way, or not receiving a certain type of love, and didn't feel the need to talk about it. You just changed up and switched up the way that you show me love. Which is really, really, really lovely. Thank you. Thank you for loving me in the way that you love me. On that note, how have I showed you love? How do I show you?
I think quality time again. I think the checking in on me, sending me messages here and there, and it's not an everyday thing, but it's just like she's thought about you. Like when you send me messages, for me, I know, okay, she's thought about me.
Carolyn,
So,
it is an everyday thing. I'm on
actually,
the phone to you
yeah.
every day.
Actually, you're right.
Voice notes every day.
You're right, actually. Yeah, no, you
Don't
do.
minimize.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. That's quite funny, actually. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. I think, do you know what? I think it's because more so now because you're like geography as well makes a difference. I think because obviously you were a lot further away before, but I think we've just gotten a bit closer, a lot closer than when you were out of town because you've obviously recently moved into town. But like, I think, um, yeah, no, I appreciate that actually. I think I do appreciate that, and I think,
Mhm.
um, it's funny because sometimes obviously we're children of God, and I remember praying about it actually and saying that I really wanted to have a tribe. I wanted to have like people I could kind of rely on because I was feeling like London can be a very lonely place sometimes, I'm telling you. And so I think, yeah, God answered my prayer really because there's stuff that I can say and do, and like you're just not far, although driving's easier, but public transport not round the corner, but you're closer than you were before, but like I can reach out to you, and I don't know, it's just a different dynamic in the relationship. I think it's just gotten closer, deeper, and I for me really appreciate that.
The only thing I heard there is that I'm reliable.
That you're reliable.
That's the only thing I heard. No, I'm joking.
Okay, I guess that is. But I think on that note, if I think about it, let's go back to quality time now, right? So quality time on the basis of another person registering you in their mind enough to pick up a phone, send you a message, I think is really important. Because remember earlier this week where I was telling you about receiving a Christmas card from somebody who I knew. I've known this person over 20 years. They don't live in the country. They live out in America, and we were really tight. We spent a lot of time together here in the UK. But I was thinking about it I won't say I was complaining, but I felt some kind of way because I was like, okay, I appreciate that she's thought about reaching out to me and saying to me, oh, what's your address? I'm going to send you, because she always sends like handwritten cards. Although not anymore. Now it's like a typed out. She used to write letters. We used to do letters, which was great. But she types out a letter, which she prints out, and I think she folds it, puts it in each envelope with a picture of a Christmas picture from the whole family, and different pictures of them. It's like a little collage thing, and it's really cute. And I think it's an American thing because we don't do that in the UK. And it's lovely to receive it, but then I would rather that she just respond to my WhatsApp when I send her a message, say, hey, how you doing? But she doesn't respond to that. But once a year I get this message, so I'm like,
therefore that to you doesn't equal to quality time, it equals to time.
It doesn't
just
equal quality
time sporadic.
Exactly.
when she decides to respond to your time.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing is, what did we do before WhatsApp? What did I do before WhatsApp? I guess I hung out with my friends because we didn't have phones. I only got a mobile phone when I was 18, so
yeah. Precisely. Okay, so we're coming towards the end of this podcast. I just wanted to touch upon something slightly different.
Yeah.
So personality types, for example, in conjunction with love languages. For example, I'm an extroverted introvert. So I'm an extroverted introvert. So I'm does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Because you love being outgoing and all of that, but when it comes to recharging your batteries, you need to be quiet, at home, chilled. No one disturb me. Let me just still do my own thing. Yes,
absolutely. So okay, you know me. So this girl knows me. And I am the life and soul when I'm out. I'm fun. I'm but I can do that in small chunks. I can do that if I hear there's an event that's from 7 to 9, I'm happy because there's an end time to it. And I know that after 9, I don't need to do anything else. I'm going home to my pajamas and I need to recharge. And I know the amount of high energy I have when I'm out. It's not that I'm acting or trying to be a type of way. I just have, it's me. I'm high energy, but then I need to recharge. So essentially, if I have an event that's coming up and we're saying it's an evening from 6 p.m., I'm anxious about that. 6 p.m. till when? Okay, I need to set an expectation. I need for people to know that don't expect me to be there the whole night, because this is going to be an early night for me. I have my daughter to day. My excuses and reasons will start coming out. Not that I'm making stuff up, but I need to, so
Exit
for me,
strategy.
what's that? Sorry?
Exit strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I need an exit strategy, because after 2 hours, let's say 3 hours, but when I'm in a social setting and I'm with someone on a one-to-one with quality time, I don't care about that end time, because I don't need to see the 6 to 7 to 9 p.m. I'll know that we're going to be sat down, we're going to be talking, and I'll probably even forget the time. And people will say, guys, you've been here too long there, and Danny,
kicking us out, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I am. So essentially, my love language is quality time. Doesn't have limits when it comes to one-to-ones, for example, but when it comes to the wider setting, it does. What's your sort of personality type in terms of extrovert, introvert, and how does that show up for you?
Oh, back in the day, I would have said if I look back, I think I was more of an introvert a long time ago when I was growing up. So I used to, put my head in the book, do whatever and chill. But I think as I've developed and grown up, I think I've become more of an extrovert. But I do think that when it comes to recharging my batteries, I can recharge with being with people, but I can also recharge being on my own.
You're a nightmare. You're a nightmare.
It's not very clear, but I know
no. Sorry, let me just interrupt for a second. You're a nightmare. When we go out, Carolyn is talking to everyone. Carolyn is everywhere. But that's the beauty of us, because we're opposites in that sense sometimes. Carolyn is, I'm like, where's Carolyn now? Where's my quality time person? And she's gone, and it's fine. I can also get on. But Carolyn is there. So yeah, she's a nightmare. But that's your.
I do get energy from talking to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do get. So I am very much an extrovert, but I know that there are times where I'm like, batteries are gone. I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to anyone. I literally have phones off. I'm like, I don't want to. And I can see myself becoming a hermit. And I have to say to myself, actually, Yuna, you're probably the one person who's like, Carolyn, get yourself up, get out of the house.
I do that because I know that you need.
Honestly, I could quite happily be, and it's hilarious because obviously she knows what I'm like when I'm out and about. I'm just like, hi.
Yeah.
And then, so maybe, I don't even know what. It's a weird one on the personality, because I think I do get charged up talking to people, but I also get charged up chilling on my own, relaxing at home. But then
I don't think you get charged up doing that. I
think I don't actually. Maybe my batch. So maybe I do need to go out more. Actually,
yeah. I think when you're at home, you're comfortable. You're in your comfort zone, and when you're out, you're charged up. And I don't think you had charged up with both. And I think that when I say to you, Caroline, just come out, because I know you're now being too comfortable, and you've told me I need to hold you accountable, and I'm going to be that accountability partner. I'm like, Caroline, just get the bloody hell out. Let's go. Because I know that you need that charge up.
Okay. I think I may be an extrovert then, based on this discussion. I'm not an introvert. I think you're right. I think it's this is that whole knowing yourself, right? And being aware of it. So I do actually I am. Yeah, I'm an extrovert.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, Caroline,
I can. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm gonna cut us short because we're gonna cut off shortly.
Okay.
It's been really a pleasure talking with you today about this topic. I'm glad we did it, just like that, because we've been talking about doing more and stuff. But it's been a pleasure. I've learned stuff here. I've been reminded of stuff here. It's been great. So thank you.
Thank you. I think this has been a really interesting conversation. I've learned a lot about myself and about you. And actually, it's been great. I think that, if I can leave people with anything here, is that spend time getting to know yourself. Do the love language link. Do the love language quiz. If you can drop a link somewhere for people to do the test.
I'll do that at the bottom of the podcast.
Couples should do it so they understand each other. Parents should get their kids to do it. There is a book specifically for love languages for kids or something as well, I think.
And don't just do it in couples. Do it for somebody you're newly dating. Do it for your friends. Do it for just any relationships that you have, because love languages translate to all types of relationships.
Everything, which is so important. And I think
Do it for your
You
future
need that
husband.
understanding. You need that understanding of yourself to be authentic, the authentic you. Then you're not kind of, questioning yourself as well, and you're actually ready, open to be able to, interact with people and show up the way you need to show up. And actually just advocate for yourself, so you have your voice to say, I like this, I don't appreciate that, but I would love it if you could do this. Oh, thank you so much. And everyone responds to gratitude. The more you do, the more grateful you are for things, people will give you more, they'll do more of that thing because they know that you
Yeah.
respond to it. So that's what
Yeah.
I would say. I'm going to leave people with that.
Yeah, and you're more likely to find out what you want to do for them because they do so much for you.
Mm.
So give and take. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's been a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime, babe. Bye.
Bye.
We all have emotions and think about things.